Hi there, welcome to Island Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Leo energy, and we're going to read it from a couple different perspectives because life's about learning lessons, and some people do harness high vibe Leo energy, but some people harness a more worldly, shadowy Leo energy because they haven't freed themselves from either their more shadowy nature, and which can just be our more immature, prideful, egotistical, defensive, lazy, whatever nature, right? Self-centered nature, and haven't learned how to play nicely with others in a more just and fair way. Maybe don't want to do love, still caught up more in the world, are sure that if they make their life about those things of the world, that will be the answer to their problems. Love isn't the answer. And so we're going to read it from those couple different perspectives of how people could be moving forward in their life right now, depending on how they harness their Leo energy. And we all kind of tap into Leo energy because it's either being more in our ego or being illuminated to the truth and having learned some lessons and healing and growing and maturing yourself and loving yourself and having hope and faith and belief in yourself and in your dreams. And at the end, we're going to ask what a possible outcome could be for people depending on how they harness their Leo energy. So it's kind of interesting that this is like the overarching reason for the reading, which is the ending card, like the coffin card in tarot. We either shed old layers of ourselves, and after that is the snake card. And this card says Scorpio on it, which can talk about our deep emotional attachments to things and how those things kind of can deceive and manipulate us. So the snake card also makes me think of Aquarius energy. Two fixed sign energies. We have this, we get caught up in our worldly nature, in our ego, emotionally. We want to have these things of the world. We could be egotistical or more self-centered. We could be more caught up in the world, looking like a shining star in the world. Some people have learned lessons in life to get out of their more stubborn nature, defensive to change. And then the death card can be about, I've shed an old layer of myself, my more immature ways of living life and viewing life, to give birth to high vibe Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius is I've learned to look at life from a higher perspective. I'm not as caught up in the emotionally shallow, superficial things. I want to emotionally be in deep, meaningful relationships. I want to free myself from what manipulates me. I want to be more authentically myself. And I've learned to love myself to be someone who is high vibe Leo. I'm authentic, I'm warm, I'm loving, I'm encouraging, I'm supportive. But I have seen life I've been deceived and manipulated. And I've looked at life from a higher perspective, and love is to be just and fair. And high vibe Scorpio is I want to be in deep, meaningful relationships, but I can't have a deep, meaningful, authentic, warm, loving relationship of my dreams if I get in relationships with people who haven't put an end to their more worldly, immature, defensive, prideful, egotistical nature. My dream can't come into reality with someone who their truth and their emotional nature and in their Leo energy, they're more aligned with, in their free will of their dualistic nature, more about themselves or these things of the world. Or preferring to live a more emotionally shallow, superficial life. We are emotionally complex human beings, and some people nope, I'm not doing that. It's too confusing, and I get hurt doing love. And those people are probably going to keep moving forward, trying to manipulate people, create the illusion they're more high vibrational than they are, stop those people from loving and believing in themselves and their dreams, to keep moving forward with them in an illusion, in a deception. And some high vibe people are like, no, that's not happening. And I will free myself. I will work through my own fears and insecurities about why I would be tempted to stay in something like that, and I will free myself. High Vibe Leo, being illuminated to the truth. And High Vibe Leo, I will give myself the things that I wish other people would have given me. I will offer peace and love to those situations to let them go. And I'm going to keep moving forward, believing in my dreams. You have to get out of your ego. Shadowy Leo, about the ego. You have to be willing to learn lessons in life and get out of your ego and your defensive nature and being more in your superficial nature and caught up in these things of the world if you want to kind of live the life of your dreams. So what's going on in Leo energy? We have routine, trumpet, and high honor, and the reason that came out is because of the mice card. Some people saw the truth. I look at the routine card as like an Eight of Pentacles Virgo energy, where people did the inner work to figure out. The mice card can be about things that kind of eat away at us, that could make us emotionally, is what the feminine figures talk about. Why am I not in the trumpet and the high honor card? And I kind of look at the high honor card as like the Six of Wands Leo energy. And then this card of the trumpet talks about fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Why don't I work through those things that kind of manipulate me to free myself from those things? But you have to be inspired to even want to free yourself. The Six of Wands moves away from the Five of Wands, which is like the competition, which can be our ego nature. Why don't I free myself from my egoic nature to go shine my light, live my more authentic life, be more bold and brave and confident, wrap my brain around this game of life? And some people did do that work, and they got out of their ego, and they were inspired to get more balance within themselves. The sixes can talk about balance. Are there things of the world that I'm motivated and inspired by? Yes. Am I equally, though, inspired by truth and love and justice and fairness? Yes. So I have to be inspired to get out of letting my more worldly nature kind of dominate my life, or my fear, my insecurity, my pride, my ego, my lust, my greed. And I have to get more balance within myself. And some high vibe people have done that. And because they went through these difficult times of how their own fear and insecurities manipulated them, how other people in the world kind of manipulated them or tried to stop them, because they don't do that. They stay like right here. In their more worldly nature, they don't do that work within themselves. And then they wanted to be in a relationship with you, or for you to work at that job or be their friend, and you stay there too. But some of you decided, I've seen the truth that this foundation in the mice card isn't about me growing to my full potential and freeing myself from things that manipulate me, because they don't free themselves from what manipulates them. And so some people decided to move on, and some of the more worldly, shadowy people are still doing life the way they do it. And in their fire sign energy, they could be more motivated by themselves, by the world, by ego, by indulgence, by money, by materialism. That is what drives and motivates them. And it's maybe the most important thing in their life, instead of trying to work through why they make those things so important in their life. Why isn't love the driving factor in their life? Well, they might have a problem with loving themselves, believing in themselves, have other things and people in the world manipulates them, and they just haven't been illuminated to the truth yet. And we all are kind of ready to deal with the truth when we're ready. And we all are on our own journey, and some people might move forward in life later Some people won't. We do have free will. Some people aren't even motivated and inspired to do the inner work to figure out what those things are that manipulate them. Why do I do the things I do? Why do I let these things manipulate me? Why do I let those people manipulate me? Why do I let the world manipulate me? And partly it could be because that they view it like hoping one day it'll be victorious and successful, or the world tries to tell us, if you make your life about this and this and this, and you wear this and you act like this and you hang out with these people and not those people, and if you dress this way and you look this way, or you have a certain amount of money, you'll be happy. And they still are sure that that will make them happy. So that's what they're going to invest their time, energy, and effort into. And they're not seeing how all those things, shadowy energy at the big picture is represented by the devil. All these things that try to stop us from living our more authentic life and giving birth to new things in our life. It keeps them stuck and stagnant, repeating this old pattern, letting these things manipulate them, if not just their ego and their defensiveness. Then we have the main female and the clover card, and this card says Sagittarius. Again, the feminine figures can represent how we think and feel. Shadowy Sagittarius is kind of being more caught up in ourself in the world, kind of being an immature player. And some people emotionally, they're sure that's living the dream. That'll make them happy. Why did these two cards come out? Because of divine support. It's kind of like no matter what stage of life we are in, the divine's always there trying to help us balance out our emotions and kind of wrap our brain around this game of life that you do have free will. You can live your life whatever way you want, but there are going to be consequences. There are rules to this game of life. But some people are quite prideful and egotistical, and they think they're the boss. I think, pride comes before the fall. Over here, we were kind of talking Aquarius energy, which is air sign energy of the mind. I have a dream. I'm sure I don't have to discipline myself. I'm sure I don't have to heal and grow and mature myself. I could be attractive. I could be charming. I could be good looking. I could have money. I could have sex with people, whatever. I think I can use those things, and I think everything will go okay. And for those people, just like all of us to our own degree have been more immature and caught up in the world and more codependent and things like that, the divine is always there trying to help them see the truth. That you can do that, and you can just try to balance out your emotions about what's going on in your life. Or you could emotionally align with your high vibrational Sagittarius energy, which is about higher learning and education, and kind of wrap your brain around this game of life and balance out your emotions. Not just try to balance out your emotions about how you're living your life, but really kind of get more balanced within yourself. You do have your more worldly nature, and there are these things of the world that you want, that you're inspired by. Both Aries and Leo and Sagittarius are all fire sign energy. And we all go on this journey in life. We're motivated and inspired by these things of the world that we want to go indulge in and manifest, that we think are sure are going to make us happy. It's just that some people have had maybe some more life experience than some other people, or they're more tempered in their ego, and they just are more balanced, or over the course of their life and learning some lessons in life, they have been illuminated to the truth that love is the answer. If I indulge myself in my more immature, indulgent nature, I've maybe already done that before and I know it doesn't turn out really the way I want. So I need to wrap my brain around this game of life. And I need to see the truth that when I plant bad seeds, I'm going to get a bad harvest. I could be a very loving, nurturing, warm, giving person. I can be that way with other people, but if I get in a more involved relationship with them, and I think I can maybe move forward with them in a more involved relationship, maybe thinking I can change them, that they'll quit being more immature or bossy or controlling or prideful or defensive, then God's with us, waiting for us to be illuminated to the truth that everybody's been given free will. People have their ways of being and ways of living life because they're pretty sure that is the way to go. And when we meet people who might be a more worldly, shadowy energy, we should accept the truth of it. Not get in our ego, oh no, God, I can change them. Really, I've been with them all their life. And this is who they are. Nothing wrong with being loving and encouraging and supportive to people. It's a different thing to get in a more involved relationship with them. Then you might be a little bit in your ego and not wanting to see the truth. And if you're not seeing the truth and being illuminated to the truth, you kind of might be got some lessons to learn yourself to see the truth that if people were motivated and inspired to be more in a deep, meaningful relationship, more authentic, more loving, more hopeful and believing of themselves and in others and in love, they would be that kind of person. And so then as we learn those lessons, we kind of learn, we meet these different people in the world, and hopefully over time we also learn to listen to our intuition that I kind of think we're on different pages, and I kind of think you're motivated and inspired or have certain maybe defensiveness or ego or whatever, that I've already known people who are like that, and I'm not going to try to change you, because if you wanted to be a different type of person and you're motivated and inspired to look at life differently, Aquarius energy, looking at life differently and from a higher perspective, you would. But you might be caught up more in yourself and these things of the world. And I deal with the truth. And I see the truth. I wish you peace, love, and joy. And I can get along with lots of people in the world and in my family or in the workplace. But you go live your life and I'm going to go live my life. And even though there might be some people I might be attracted to and kind of might want to indulge myself, my more wise emotional nature that I align with tempers my more immature worldly nature that would like to go indulge in that, because I've already been there and done that kind of thing. And I've already realized you have to be on the same page. You have to be motivated, kind of inspired by the same things. And you have to, if you want deep, meaningful, loving relationships and you are motivated to do this work to grow and heal and mature yourself to your full potential, quit letting things manipulate you. You need to be in relationships with people who are motivated to do that same thing. And so you keep maintaining balance within yourself and listening to your intuition. And the people in your life who are also have done that work within themselves and learned those kind of lessons and are inspired to align with their more authentic, loving, just, fair kind of ways of being, those are the people you keep investing more of your time and energy to maintaining and moving forward in relationship with. And then we have the key, which says Leo energy, the long road, the occupation, the anchor, the heart. Let's see, it says 7th house, which is about justice and fairness and partnership. And the tree, And the tree, which this card mentions Virgo energy again, just like I view this card as Virgo energy. But just like all the zodiac signs, you can harness them in a more high vibrational way, a more worldly way, or a more shadowy way. The high vibe people, just like everyone else, we are born in the world. We're pretty sure in our Leo, and I also view the long road as kind of like Virgo energy, which is earth sign energy, putting in work and effort to, to try to build our life based on kind of what our truth is. And we've all grow up in the world. So kind of initially, for maybe the first 30, 40 years of our life, we're pretty caught up in the things of the world because we're pretty sure if we have those things or indulge in those things, we'll be happy. And they put in work and effort. View that one as a Virgo card. Because we're kind of emotionally anchored into this way of viewing life. And because of the water realm, it makes me think of our emotional investment, but it does mention Capricorn energy, and sometimes, Capricorn energy that we can all tap into is earth sign energy again. We're all kind of initially, I think, more tipped into, you can be a loving person, want deep, meaningful relationships, but we're still kind of really caught up in the worldly dream. It kind of consumes us a little bit, right? And we're kind of really anchored in. It's really hard to emotionally detach from our more worldly view of life because we're a human and we live in the world and we view it as victorious and successful, and we want to be viewed as victorious and successful. And, again, kind of maybe in our fire sign energy, we kind of think we're the boss and we think we know best, and pride comes before the fall. So we're really motivated and inspired by these things, and we're kind of really anchored in there. And then we do all those things sometimes and we're kind of maybe disillusioned and heartbroken. And all of those life experiences are all to help us see the truth of our foundation. And we're so much more than what we wear and what we drive and how much money we have and if we're in a relationship or not. And all these things that we made so important. And then it's kind of like we've been enlightened to the truth. And as we're going through this life experience, our own Virgo aspect of self and our more emotionally creative, inspired nature of self wants us to believe in ourselves and believe in our dreams and work through our fears and our insecurities and all these things and people in our life and how the world can manipulate us and our own ego manipulates us and our lust and our greed. To finally see the truth that if we really want our dream to come into reality, we go through these life experiences and we kind of shed old layers of ourselves, which is kind of what the death card talks about. That as we go through life and we learn these lessons, we kind of shed old ways of viewing life, old ways of viewing ourselves and how we view the world, how we view others. And hopefully as we're going through these life experiences, we keep putting in the work and effort to believe in ourselves and believe in our dreams. But, we got a lot of layers to peel back. Our worldly nature is like a never ending onion of layers and layers and layers to peel back. But if we keep doing work, we keep learning lessons, and we keep moving forward. With Scorpio of the death card and Aquarius energy, which can be caught up in ourself and the things of the world, to emotionally want to go explore the mysteries of life, high vibe Scorpio, from a higher perspective. And then that's us in our fire sign energy also, I kind of think there's more to life than just me or these things of the world and all these things that I made so important in my life. I'm so much more than all those things, all these ways I had of defining myself, all these things that I thought were so important and that I wanted people to view me a certain way and I wanted to be victorious and successful. But that can make us really have to deal kind of in our Capricorn energy of, well, what do I view as victorious and successful? I could have put work and effort into all these things and I might have a lot of stability and security and I might look like a shining star and I might be in a relationship and I might have a good job. But is it all superficial and shallow? Is it loving? Is it encouraging? Is it helping me give birth to freeing myself from all these things that manipulate me? Or did it, kind of put up more prison bars to keep me enslaved and imprisoned? Because the devil at the big picture is about trying to limit you and restrict you and confine you and oppress you and imprison you. High vibe energy at the big picture represented by God. God wants you to be free and independent of your more worldly nature, other people who are more their worldly nature, your past pain and heartbreak, your fears and your self-limiting beliefs, so you can go shine your authentic nature in the world, being inspired, high vibe Sagittarius, to go on this adventure in life, to be illuminated to the truth. You hold the key to freeing yourself. And sometimes we think we're always looking outside of ourselves, like, well, no, if those people valued me, if those people loved me, if I had this or that, then I'd be free, because then I could live my authentic life. And some people do all those things and go pursue all those things and get all those things, and they're still imprisoned. And it's like, why didn't that work? And then we go through and that didn't work out. And so then we go back and hopefully we take the lesson we learned and we go through these cycles over and over and different cycles and growing and healing and maturing ourselves. And then we realize that the answer lies within me, because Virgo energy is about self-reflection, looking at those things that we didn't know were hidden in the dark, that were eating away at the foundation of ourself. And that it's really not the world validating your worth and value, it's you validating your worth and value. It's not the world loving you, it's you being inspired to love you. We can all stay in our more codependent energy, again, looking outside of ourselves into the world to validate our worth and value. We need to validate our worth and value and align with our more hopeful, believing, loving nature, and realizing, if you want true abundance in your life, it takes a lot of work and effort to work through and see the truth of how your own worldly nature and emotional nature and these things of the world can really manipulate you. And kind of viewing the heart card as kind of like a two of cups, that what do we align with in our free will? Our more worldly nature, our more loving nature, and then also kind of viewing it like the Three of Swords, both the Two of Swords and the Three of Swords of Libra energy. Am I balanced within myself? Have I learned to offer myself love and compassion and forgiveness and to other people so I am at a place of peace and balance within myself? Am I anchored emotionally within my own truth and loving nature? That makes me feel balanced within myself. Because otherwise, when we look outside of ourselves, what happens if those things don't work out? well, then those things that we were like codependent on or looking to be the answer for us feeling more stable and grounded and balanced, we gave that power to something else or someone else. And the answer lies within us seeing the truth. And the Two of Swords can be where we weren't seeing the truth. We have our dualistic nature. What is our truth? And we come in contact with all these different people to help us get clearer about our truth. And we have a lot of things to learn in life. You know, we can meet all sorts of people who in a lot of ways could seem like they're on the same page as us. But then we could find out, oh, you're kind of not more inspired to maybe step ever out of your comfort zone and shed an old layer of yourself. Oh, well, I kind of am more, it's like I go through a phase of life, like when I was 15 going to 18, I didn't want to be 15 forever. I faced my fears, my insecurities, all those things that were kind of stopping me from moving forward. And I wrapped my brain around those things that were kind of stopping me. And I offered truth and love to those things. And I worked through my own fear of kind of picking up anchor in an old way of living life to kind of love and believe in myself and believe that I do have the skills and the capabilities to move forward in that next phase of life. I don't like repeating old patterns forever and letting things, my fear, my insecurity manipulate me. But we've met all sorts of people. Some people never want to step out of their comfort zone, or they got to a certain point in life, like became an adult, got a job, able to get in relationships, they're like a functioning adult. Well, you get into the world of adulthood, maybe say like 25, and then you can just blend in with all the other adults. And I have no interest in doing life any differently. Whatever way I'm doing my life, that's the way I want to do my life forever. And other people are like, aren't you ever inspired to kind of go on an adventure and, maybe try out some new things and maybe see if there's other things that maybe you'd enjoy doing in the world? No, I don't even want to bother. I just want to stay here. It's like, oh my God, And then we can meet other people that are kind of prideful, egotistical, kind of full of themselves, and they kind of like it being all about them. And, you can get in relationships with them and you can hope that they're going to change. It's like, these people are never going to change. If they're immature or bossy or controlling or egotistical or fearful or codependent, I think they're going to stay that way for longer than I have to wait, And that's when you kind of learn, I need to kind of like maybe put in work and effort to kind of get to know what drives and motivates people. And are they more inspired? Are they illuminated to some of the same truths I have been illuminated to? Have they put an end to being more about themselves or the world, or being defensive, or being more self-indulgent or emotionally shallow and superficial? And if they are, those are the people I'm going to put more work and effort into. Because in our Virgo nature, and maybe in our Leo and our Scorpio, we both might be motivated to be in more deep, meaningful relationships and more emotionally shallow or superficial, or look to just being in a relationship or a friendship because of the ego and the image and the status. It's like, I want more than that, And then what they think is just and fair kind of aligns with what you think is just and fair. And you've kind of been illuminated to some of the same lessons, and you've learned those lessons, and you've incorporated those lessons into how you live life, and have no interest in going back to that older ways of living life. I don't want to go back to my more immature, self-indulgent, or fearful or insecure nature. And I know it takes work and effort. Moving forward in life is kind of like rolling a big boulder in a way, because you're rolling, it's kind of like metaphorically, you're rolling the boulder either way. But it takes slow, steady steps. That's what like High Vibe Virgo talks about. Slow, steady steps forward. And that if you don't, you could think, oh, I don't have to do that. I can just hang out here longer. But when you do that, it kind of starts to wear away at your foundation. And, some people don't realize that they could really lose a lot of momentum in their life. And, because the devil is about trying to steal our dreams away from us. And sometimes we can deceive ourselves into thinking, oh no, I know I should be doing that or whatever, or I was doing that, but I think I can just kind of hang out here and indulge myself. And some people could have hung out and indulged themselves thinking, oh, if someone ever comes along that seems to be like the dream person I would want to be in a relationship with, oh, well then I'll just quit how I'm living my life and I'll just easily be able to go over there and be in that type of relationship with them. But they don't see that, other people who could seem like they're the dream person for them to be in a relationship with are people who are doing all this work within themselves. While they were maybe staying here and they weren't putting in that work and effort. And then they tried to go get in a relationship with someone who's like, oh, this is how I used to view life. And I was putting in work and effort to kind of do that. But then it wasn't working out. Didn't seem like the dream was coming into reality. So I decided to do this instead. And it kind of, can wear on our own self-esteem. It's kind of like, you've probably been there before where, you imagined your life being this certain way and, then you could just kind of get sidetracked and you're kind of maybe just partying too much or something, right? And while you're kind of partying and kind of maybe staying in a phase of life instead of kind of moving forward, but the people you really always wanted to be in a relationship with were the kind of people who were still doing that work while you were sitting here kind of partying. And then it's kind of like when they show up, you're not in that energy. And you're really still more in kind of a more immature energy. So while other people were putting in the work and effort and learning lessons in life and continuing to kind of move forward, we kind of got a little complacent and maybe thought, well, if they're not around, I'll go do, if the right people to be in my life aren't here, maybe I'll indulge myself or enjoy a relationship or whatever with the people who are in my life right now. Well, the whole thing is, how many people maybe have gotten in a relationship that maybe their intuition was kind of telling them this isn't a right fit for you. But because someone who was, people who seem more to be on the same page as them, like didn't exist in their reality, kind of, they got involved in those relationships because as human beings, we want to be in relationships with people. That's what some people did. And then the person or someone who seems to be someone like they would really like to be in a relationship with, then people have to make a decision in their life. From the Two of Swords to the Three of Swords, what is my truth? I could have always told myself, oh no, this is how I want to live my life. But those kind of people aren't in my life right now, so I'm going to do this. Well, or I'm going to live my life like this. I'm going to hang out with these people. Well, then they have the opportunity to transform their life, and it's kind of like at different times in our life, it's like God offers us a gift in the Leo energy of the key. Here is a golden opportunity for you to transform your life. Here's some people that would work together with you cooperatively in a just and fair, stable, grounded, authentic, loving way. And some people like to think that that was the type of person that they were. And some of those people get in relationships with people like that, and they thought, that is me, that is who I am. But then when it really gets to where they have to deal with the truth of their own foundation of what really drives and motivates them, some people could have kind of been heartbroken to realize I always viewed myself as someone who would be more just and fair and authentic and loving and want to do equal give and take and be in a more deep, meaningful relationship. But it kind of illuminates for them that that's not where they're at. That they kind of are more caught up in the world, or they are more caught up in themselves, and they do kind of are more tempted to operate from their ego nature and either be more about themselves or more about the world, or realize I'm kind of more immature than I realized, because if I keep hanging out with these people or working with these people, they do want me in my Leo energy to temper my more immature nature. And I might have a little problem tempering my more immature nature. And that, and anytime we come across people who are, that can happen to all of us, right? Because we can view ourselves like, oh, I'm this kind of person. And then someone comes along who's like, oh, wow, they're really like, I don't know, more bold and brave and confident, really like comfortable in their own skin, really balanced, and, really put in work and effort on things, to have balance in their life. And, the whole thing is it can illuminate for all of us, like, oh, I should do a little bit more of that. I guess I hadn't realized, I guess it just kind of makes me think about being fit and healthy, which I'm not. I have definitely been slacking off for the last 10 years. And then you kind of wonder, why don't I do that? And then, we have the free will choice, just like everybody does, in situations like that. If I have people in my life who are willing to work with me and they're loving and encouraging and supportive, am I willing to put in that work and effort to get to be more balanced within myself and deal with the things within me that manipulate me so that I can keep moving forward with these people? And, loving and encouraging people, since I talked about kind of being fit and healthy, it's accepting that you have the free will to kind of be a little less fit and healthy if you want, so long as you're just and fair and you're being stable and grounded, especially like if it's a job, because part of some people not being fit and healthy is like drugs and alcohol, right? Overindulgence. So long as people are working together, being authentic, being encouraging, being supportive, putting in work and effort, being just and fair and balanced, we can all move forward together to bring a dream into reality. But we all have to be willing to detach from thinking it should be more about us, or that we should be indulged in our more immature ways of being. And some people get in relationships, but when it requires them to deal with some truths within themselves that manipulate them, nope, I'm done. You go. I'll go find someone else to get in a relationship. And for some people, it's always, I'm willing to be in relationships with people. I'm willing to a degree put in work and effort, be just and fair. But I have my own truth of what drives and motivates me. And it could be more about the world or them, and not really where they have to ever do any of this inner work within themselves. Like, they don't want to see the truth of how there's things within them or outside of them or the world that manipulates them. And then other people get in relationship with them. They see the truth of it. They offer them truth and love and encouragement to move forward with them. But you have to kind of see the truth of these things that manipulate you, because a house divided can't stand. If My idea of the dream life is to keep things in perspective, not get all caught up in my head, to temper my immature egoic nature. I need to be in relationships with other people that are able to do that. If you keep getting all up in your head or indulging your more immature nature and you don't want to see the truth of it, or you are kind of more about ego and image and that's not why I want to be in the relationship, then some relationships end. And some people could be ending some jobs, friendships, and relationships right now. Some of you already did that. Some of you were illuminated to the truth and you're moving forward. And you're moving forward in life, communicating to different people. Could have went and gotten new jobs, new friendships, new relationships. And basically it's just the people in your life that are moving forward with you in that way are the people you keep moving forward with. You're not going to let people in your life who aren't putting in that work and effort with you kind of keep you caught up in a dream that one day they will. Because if they already showed you they weren't willing to put in that work and effort with you, we can all live in denial of the truth. And, one day they will. It's like we have no idea if they will or not. And the thing is, when some people already showed you, I have these things that manipulate me, sometimes the things that manipulate them, the devil doesn't let go easily. And you've really got to do this inner work. And if you already know some people, no, I'm not inspired to do that inner work. I'm not interested in kind of wrapping my brain around this. And emotionally, I do not want to invest that type of time and effort to work through those things, or I would have done it with you. When I was in an environment with someone that could have been a golden opportunity for me to free myself, but I chose not to free myself, and instead I let my more fearful, insecure, prideful, defensive, materialistic, whatever type of nature kind of drive my life. And it can be just like an addiction, whatever it is, even if it's ego and image, or it has to be more about me. I have to be able to control things, or I'm the shining star. People should want to be in a relationship with me. And you kind of realize they're more egotistical than you realized, or narcissistic. Deal with the truth. The divine has a plan for your life. We meet these people, we offer them truth and love to work together with them cooperatively in a just and fair way. If they show us that is not their truth, we need to not be in denial of the truth and let it keep us up in our head. We say, I don't know what you got planned, God, but I'm going to go on this journey with you. And I am willing to. Scorpio talks about emotionally detaching from this old dream and this old relationship, and I'm going to keep putting in work and effort, aligning with truth, justice, fairness, character, and integrity. And that's how I am going to take action in my life. And as we do that, it helps us more emotionally detached in the past and free ourselves to move forward in life. But there will always be more shadowy people who just want to be the next person to indulge in a relationship with you. So with these lessons that you've learned, you are willing to work with people and get to know people, but maybe not going to get in a more Scorpio, Aquarius, Leo energy with them until you kind of know the truth that there's someone who is self-aware, is warm and loving, seems to have self-awareness and self-insight, views in their Capricorn energy that I view victory and a legacy is living a more balanced life, and I don't need all the money, and I don't need all the attention, and I don't need, when is enough enough? For some people, enough is never enough. And it is like an addiction. And other people are like, in High Vibe Libra, it's about balance. Yes, I want stability and security. Yes, I'd like to be in a relationship, but it has to be truthful and just and fair and authentic and loving and built on truth. And there's other people, it's like, oh, it's all just an illusion. That's like shadowy Leo energy. All you do is try to create an illusion that you're that type of person so that other people who want those things will get in a relationship with you, buy into the illusion of who you are, and then you hope one day when they do find out the truth, that that isn't your truth, that they'll be so caught up in their ego and wanting the dream to come into reality and emotionally invested that they won't put an end to the deception. And that way, someone who's more shadowy and deceptive or egotistical or bossy or controlling or narcissistic has kind of trapped a loving person in a relationship with them. And higher vibe people say, would I like this to have worked out? Is there things about this that I would like to have and not let go of? Am I tempted in my worldly nature, in my ego, and what would people say? Yeah, it's part of being a human being. But high vibe people are like, I adhere and I'm anchored in to a higher truth and justice. The world can judge away. If my intuitive, loving nature tells me this is an injustice, this is unfair, these people are being hurtful, unkind, bossy, controlling, aren't in it for the right reasons, maybe didn't get into it for the right reasons, aren't willing to keep growing and healing and maturing with me, then that's an injustice because I can't grow to my full potential and bring something to abundance. It takes both people being on that same page. And again, some people just want to indulge in a relationship with people who are like that, but they're not in that energy. They never change, they never transform. That is not their truth. But it's great to be in relationships with people who are like that. It's like someone who's emotionally kind of dead or uninspired or not authentic gets to be in a relationship with someone who's like that. Yay, I get to be in a relationship with someone who's loving and encouraging and they temper their ego and they don't act bossy and controlling and petty and immature. This is great. Yeah, and high vibe people deserve to be in a relationship with someone who's like that. Not someone who's shadowy. And that's when high vibe people get out of those relationships. They love and believe in themselves. They do this work to get balance within themselves. They communicate to people in the world. This is how I'm moving forward. Who's on the same page as me? Some of those people will do this work within themselves to free themselves from whatever would stop them from moving forward in that way, to move forward with you in that way. And there'll be other people in the world that is like, well, so it wouldn't be more about me, or it wouldn't be more about these things of the world. Well, I'm in a relationship or something where it is kind of more about me or those things of the world. And that's when it kind of illuminates to them also, because some of those people could have thought, oh, wow, if I ever had someone like this come around, I would definitely go get in a relationship with them. But then they kind of see the truth. Oh, I'd have to be more authentic. I'd have to put work and effort to grow and heal and mature myself. I can't just indulge myself in the relationship. They're not going to do all the work and effort. They want two people to equally put in work and effort, to be more balanced within themselves and just and fair. Oh. Well, I didn't know it would involve all that. And so then some of those people are going to stay here. And probably as they move forward, if they're trying to manipulate someone else or someone's manipulating them and they're not seeing the truth, it probably will either be an emotionally shallow, superficial relationship based on those superficial things, or it will end one day. Because if both people aren't in the relationship motivated and inspired by love, why are they in it? Well, what if they're staying in it and then, someone can harness these energies in a more shadowy way, and other people are more tempted by being in relationships with people who harness this energy in a more shadowy way? You seem like you are the answer to my problems. This person isn't indulging me enough. I don't know if we have enough status or image or money or materialism. You seem, what? Did a relationship that you were in end? Maybe I should come get in a relationship with you, and I can work with you, and I'll create this illusion with you, and maybe you're more sad, and maybe you'd be more willing to indulge me in my ego. Or maybe you look like a shining star in a lot of ways, and I want to look like a shining star, and maybe I don't feel like I look like a shining star enough in this relationship, so I'll go over here. If people aren't in it for truth and love, why are they in it? And then to expect that it's going to be this wonderfully abundant thing. If two people are both more about the world or themselves or ego or image, that can be a just and fair relationship, and they can totally enjoy their life. It's just that they maybe aren't people who give birth to anything new. It's just repeating this old pattern. If everybody in the world repeated old patterns, we'd all still be cave people. But some people are inspired to look at life from a higher perspective, listen to their intuition. It's like, I have an idea. I think we could do indoor plumbing. I think we could create light bulbs and phones and cars. All these things that mankind, or painting or music, or I was given my own unique talent, skills, and interest. I should live my more authentic life. And some people just never live their more authentic life. Some people don't tap into their own unique talent, skills, and interests because it's all about conforming to the world. High vibe people have done the work, and they're moving forward. They're detaching from old ways of being, and while they move forward with people in their life that are on that page with them, some other people are going to be repeating. The truth sets you free, so if you didn't learn the lesson you were meant to learn about what deceived and manipulated you, you kind of have to go another round. So they'll get in another job, friendship, or relationship, and they'll have an opportunity, but it's hard to change. We look at any of the things within ourselves that we had to work through. There can be a lot of incremental changes that have to happen to have like a complete transformation of your life. And that's what High Vibe Scorpio talks about. Can we repeat this pattern many different times and there's like smaller, more incremental changes? Yes, because again, Virgo energy is about these small incremental steps. But to work away at all those different things that manipulate us to like shed a way of viewing ourselves or the world or how we view other people, that could take some people their whole life to work through some significant issues that manipulate them. What's coming up for high vibe people that they don't see coming up? We have a card not showing itself, and the reason it came out is because of the High Priestess. Again, the feminine figures talk about how we think and feel. The High Priestess talks about Cancer, Pisces, emotional water sign energy, connecting in with your emotions and your intuition and loving nature. By doing that, you are able to detach from harnessing this energy in a more worldly, shadowy way, and willing to cut people out of your life who are still in that more worldly, shadowy energy. And for some people, that's why they're not going to come with you. Because then they'd have to detach from harnessing that in a more worldly, shadowy way. And they'd have to cut out people in their life and detach from them. And they're not willing to do that. Because high vibe energy, and like high vibe Virgo, high vibe Aquarius, all these other signs that I talked about, in high vibe, it's about being more independent in the world. Loving yourself, being less codependent. I validate my worth and value. I bring more to the table than the emotionally shallow superficialness of myself. I'm more than what I look like, what I drive, how much money I have, or what I wear, blah, blah, blah. You know? And some people are still really, all those things are the most important thing. So anyway, what is it? The Queen of Swords. So the Queen of Swords emotionally can talk about we've all been betrayed in life. There's been things that have ended that didn't turn out the way we wanted. And there could have been some people in our life that are in shadowy Leo energy that try to manipulate us to get us to do the relationship the way they want us to do it. We were offering truth and love and justice and fairness, and they're like, yeah, but I don't want to do that. I want to do this. And then I want to move forward harnessing this energy in a more shadowy way, and you're supposed to let me do that. You be you, I'll be me. But they're kind of like opposing ways of truth and living life. I want to be more defensive or manipulative or prideful or egotistical. You don't be, you be loving, you be warm, you be just, you be fair. I don't want to be that way, but you should stay in a relationship with me anyway. And then if you were like, no, I'm moving forward like this. If you want to come with, come with. Then they could have been mad that you weren't willing to indulge them and they had an idea. They were going to maybe do hurtful and unkind things to stop you from loving and believing in your dreams and believing in yourself. If they're in shadowy energy, they want you in shadowy energy too. And they've been hurt before, and they have these things that manipulate them, and they want you to be hurt and have these things eat away at you. And initially, the Queen of Swords can talk about feeling betrayed. We've all went through life experiences where things didn't work out the way we wanted. People weren't just and fair and authentic and loving and warm. So are they. But they stayed in defensive energy. The Queen of Swords is also Aquarius energy, like the Seven of Swords of the snake. They gave up on believing in themselves and believing in their dreams and believing in love. And you put in the work and effort. It's like, I'm not willing to give up my dreams. I harness this energy in a high vibe way. And that's what some people don't know about you. Because you could have harnessed that energy in a more shadowy way before. Just more caught up in the world, had been betrayed by people in your life, were kind of defensive, wanted to be maybe in a relationship to feel better, get in relationships, put in work and effort to get the justice you deserve, move a relationship forward. But the people you get in a relationship with, they've been betrayed before, but they harness their Aquarius differently. It's like, no, we should stay in the relationship because other things didn't work out and we felt betrayed. We'll look victorious and successful like we've gotten justice in the world. And it's like, well, is it based on truth and love and working together? And they're like, well, no. And then you work through all that betrayal. And what they don't realize is that you have hope and faith and belief in your dreams. You just let go of people in your life who weren't willing to change or have hope and faith and belief in love. My dream can only come into reality with people who have hope and faith and belief in love, and I found out some people don't. But I'm not going to give up my dreams because of that. I'm going to be inspired to go on this adventure, believing the divine has a plan for my life. I've learned all these lessons. I'm going to take those lessons with me. I'm going to go meet new people in the world. I'm going to listen to my intuition, not get more caught up in my head and my worldly nature and my fearful nature and my defensive nature. And I think as you move forward in that energy, other people intuitively can tell that you're different. Are you not driven more by your pride and ego? Are you not more bossy and controlling and immature and self-indulgent and want to get in a relationship more just to be in a relationship or for status or ego or image? Are you like the real deal? And that's when people who realize, who listen to their intuition, that you are like the type of person they've been looking for. Those are the people that will move forward with you. Shadowy people will try to interfere, and you will listen to your intuition about who's who. What's coming up for people? And the High Priestess is kind of like just sitting back and observing people and how they act. Who isn't taking more bold, brave, confident action? Who's acting immature? Who's acting prideful? Who's just and fair? And then, the fact that people can act like they're that type of person, but I've learned to listen to my intuition. And if my intuition tells me, no, they're not who they say they are, I'm going to listen to my intuition, because my intuition was given to me as a gift. So what's coming up for people who... And the High Priestess is a counterpart to the Hierophant, which is a very high-level person and high-level commitment. People who really are who they say they are. Who they present themselves to be is a true reflection emotionally of who they really are, not someone just trying to create an illusion. Look at how much power, influence, or status, or image, or money, or attractiveness I have. You should want to date me or marry me. I act like a pillar of society. But then that's not really the truth of who they are. Looking for someone who is a very high character and integrity, but they're fun, they're adventurous, they're loving, they're insightful, they're creative, they're inspired, they look at life differently than a lot of other people. What's coming up for people who might harness a more worldly, shadowy Leo energy that they don't see coming up? The Six of Cups. Why? Because of the Queen of Pentacles. So they emotionally keep turning their back on moving forward in life differently, because that is their philosophy of life. And they keep repeating these old patterns, is what the Six of Cups can talk about. And since this card has children in it, they kind of look like children, and this is someone who would be viewed as more emotionally mature, there's some people that like kind of more mismatched relationships. And some of the people you could have gotten in relationships with, the reason you could have gotten in maybe some long-term relationships with them, and why some other people will get maybe into some long-term relationships with them, is because they could look very successful and just and fair and balanced and all those things, but they like a more imbalanced relationship and like people to be more codependent on them. And then I play this loving, nurturing role in their life. And it is kind of like a parent to a child. And the problem in the relationship, though, and high vibe people can do that with people where I want to love and encourage this person to heal and grow and mature themselves. The shadowy people kind of like to be in relationships with people who might be more codependent or fearful or insecure or defensive, to be a loving, nurturing person in their life because they like to view themselves as a loving, nurturing person too. The only problem is that when the high vibe people get in relationships with people and those people heal and grow and mature themselves, they then in turn are willing to move forward with them, knowing that now they're in a more balanced relationship. Now they both have to put in work and effort to deal with issues within themselves as they keep moving forward. And the high vibe people are willing to do that. The more shadowy people, I'm willing to put in, I like to play that role. It's good for my ego and my image and all that stuff. But if you get to be where you've transformed yourself and we are more on the same page, that now to move forward with you, it does have to be a more just and fair relationship. Like a peer-to-peer type relationship, not like a parent to a child. And they would have to do work within themselves. Oh, no. No, they don't have anything. They don't have any lessons to learn or things to work through. You can I'll go find someone else and start this whole process over again. And then those people can wonder, Well, now why did those people move on? You know, I have such bad luck. It's like, well, are you kind of bossy and controlling and a little egotistical, even though you might temper that, not really show people that, but you like to be in these more imbalanced relationships? Like people looking to you instead of looking like to the divine? Wouldn't that be like the devil? I want you to view me as loving, but I don't want you to require me to grow up or change or mature myself in any way. If you do, you can go. I'll go find someone else. High vibe people are willing to do that work within themselves also. They're not asking someone to do something that they are unwilling to do themselves. But shadowy people could be kind of egotistical and full of themselves. You should want to be in a relationship with me. You should do this work and effort within yourself, not out of love for yourself, but because you want to be in a relationship with me. Or you view me this certain way, you know? I don't really want you to love yourself. And some of those people that are acting like that right now, they can always have high vibe people in their life. The Six of Cups is Scorpio energy, Taurus energy, emotionally nurturing, loving people in their life that want to work together with them cooperatively. And they kind of keep turning their back to it. No, it has to be my way. Come over here and do it this way. So the Six of Cups can be where we have these certain patterns, ways of interacting and being in a relationship. The other people want them to work together with them cooperatively to kind of detach from a certain way of viewing life or living life, that to kind of bring this dream into reality where we both, it's not, that's shadowy Taurus energy, a more transactional relationship. And sometimes the people then who think, well, because I have these certain traits, qualities, or characteristics, I should be kind of the more indulged person in the relationship. And I think that's just unfair. The scales should be kind of tipped in my favor. And high vibe energy is that it is supposed to be just and fair. You're supposed to treat each other the way you like to be treated. What they bring to the table is just as valuable as what the other person brings to the table. And some people are like, no. Because I might have more of these things of the world, even if it's their looks or their social clout or money or whatever. The other people might be loving people, emotionally balanced people, nurturing people. Yeah. But I think more people would be willing to get in a relationship with me because of the things that I have. And some of the high vibe people in their life are going to be like, you know what? I'm done. And you go find someone else who does value those things that you bring to the table. Obviously, a just, fair, balanced, mature, insightful, loving relationship isn't, you don't value that. So I will go take my traits and characteristics and I will move forward with my life. You take your traits and characteristics and you go do your life. And some of these people, that is how they want to live their life. That is their truth. And they'll maybe go repeat that pattern many, many times because they don't want to see the truth that they are a little prideful or egotistical or stubborn, and that they like to view themselves as being all these just and fair ways of being, but it's not really. And other people have seen the truth of them, and those people have moved on. And those people are going to work with people who aren't full of themselves, defensive to love. And the high vibe people in their life are going to go invest in people that they can have a deep, meaningful, authentic relationship with. And these people might go get in a relationship. They could be willing to indulge people for these things of ego and image and status because that's what's most important to them. Whoever has, it's kind of like they won't temper their ego for the things that people offer that they don't really cultivate within themselves and align with within themselves because they don't think it's that important. So if they know they would be willing to go indulge someone for those things, when they think they have more of those things that they value, then you're supposed to indulge them. Well, they might go indulge someone and that relationship won't work out because, again, or if it does work out, it'll have all these things by worldly standards that look great, but it's not based on love. It's an emotionally shallow, superficial relationship, more for the ego and the image. And other people can kind of tell it. And people who are connected in with their intuition is like, I think we can see you're in this relationship for reasons other than love. And some of those people won't want to hang out with them. And the high vibe people are going to put in work and effort to have a very stable foundation within themselves, working with people in their life who put in that same type of work and effort. And people will be intuitive that those people are in their relationships because of love, not out of feeling betrayed or angry or hurt or defensive or prideful or egotistical. So it's kind of like opposing forces going out in the world, living their truth, and then everybody in the world has their free will choice to align with those types of people in the world, depending on which one is aligned with their truth and which one isn't. And there'll be some people in our life that will be surprised, wow, I kind of thought you were more motivated by love and justice and fairness, and you're not. And the other people might find some people in their life that they thought they could deceive and manipulate about the truth of who they were all their life, and those people are going to move away from them. You know, you can hide the truth from some of the people some of the time, but you can't hide the truth all the time. And some people were counting on, because they had a certain status or image or looked a certain way or whatever, that people would keep aligning with them or having a certain image and acting like a pillar of society, that people would keep buying into the illusion of who they were. But when people could have put a lot of work and effort to have that certain image, and then because they had that image, I think I can quit doing that, and I think I can go do this instead, but I will confuse, people will be confused, and I'll be deceptive about why I'm doing what I'm doing. But because I've kind of like solidified this way of how people view me, now if I go do this, like as if people won't see through the illusion, and people see through the illusion. So there you go, Leo energy. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.